Hello students, and this is Charles. I welcome all the 12th standard economics students to this class. In the first chapter, we are going to learn Introduction to Macroeconomics. Let's see what is economics. Economics is a part of our daily life. In economics, we study about man, how he organizes wealth and resources for satisfying his wants and needs. In our daily life, we have numerous wants and needs, but the resources were very scarce. Economics studies how one can satisfy his wants and needs with a limited resource. Economics have two divisions. One is microeconomics and another one is macroeconomics. In this chapter, we are going to learn the evolution of macroeconomics and the importance of macroeconomics and the scope of macroeconomics and the limitations of macroeconomics. First, let's see the evolution of macroeconomics. As you know, the early form of economics was political science. Adam Smith, in his publication The Wealth of Nation, he explained the nature and causes for the wealth of nation, and he strengthened the economic concept. So he was called as father of economics, and this is the picture of Adam Smith. After Adam Smith, Ragnar Frisch, and another economist from Norway, in 1933 he coined the two words micro and macro. Remember, the micro and macro concept were introduced by Ragnar Frisch in 1933. Even though Ragnar Frisch developed the concept of micro and macro, the modern macroeconomic concepts were developed by J.M. Keynes. John Maynard Keynes in 1936, he published his book The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, published in 1936. In 1930s, there was a Great Depression. Let's see what is the meaning of depression. Depression is an economic situation in which all the economic activities are very low. There will be low productivity, low income, low national income, low per capita income, low savings, low investment. So all the economic activities are very low. So during that 1930s, almost all the countries were suffered from the depression. When John Maynard Keynes published his book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, it helps the nations to come out of the economic depression. So John Maynard Keynes, he was called as the father of modern economics or father of macroeconomics. Let's see the meaning of macroeconomics. The word macro is derived from Greek word macros, which means large. Macros means large. So in macroeconomics, we will study the economic system as a whole, as a wide phenomenon. Macroeconomics studies the economic is a wide phenomenon. Let's see the definition of macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is a branch of economics. It deals with aggregates. Macroeconomics deals with aggregates. And what are the aggregates it deals? Such as national income, employment and output. Macroeconomics is also known as income theory. Okay, macroeconomics, it gives a whole picture of the economy. It is a study of the economics as a whole. It gives the big picture. Macroeconomics gives a big picture, but microeconomics, it gives a small picture. In microeconomics, we will study the economic concept or economic variables in a part. In macroeconomics, it will give the whole picture or the wide phenomena. It includes national output, inflation, unemployment, and national income. So it gives a big picture of the economy. Now we can see the importance of macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is very much essential for the study of economic variable as a whole. First, to understand the functioning of the economy, macroeconomics helps us to understand the function of the economy, how the economy functions. It is developing or it is stagnant, we can understand by the macro study of the economy. Next, to understand the future problems, macroeconomics helps us to understand the future problems like inflation or deflation or economic depression or unemployment. We can study the future problem by the macroeconomic analysis. And next, to make scientific investigation to understand the reality, macroeconomics helps us to understand the reality. And then macroeconomics helps us to compare and make analysis of economic indicators. It make meaningful comparison and analyze economic indicators. Okay, we can make comparison between different economic indicators. For example, GDP is one of the economic indicator. We can compare this year GDP with previous year GDP. Okay, what is the meaning of GDP? Gross domestic product. By comparing this year GDP with previous year GDP, we can arrive at a conclusion whether our economy is developing or not. Okay, next, helps for better prediction about the future. Macroeconomics helps us to predict the future and to formulate suitable economic policies to avoid economic crisis. Okay, scope of macroeconomics. Scope means the areas or the subject matter covered in macroeconomics. Okay, macroeconomics covered the following areas. The first one, national income. What is the national income means? National income refers to the total number of goods and services produced in a country during a given period of time. Okay, macroeconomics, it helps us to calculate the national income. And second, inflation. Inflation refers to a steady increase in general price level. A steady increase in general price level, not a rise in price level of a particular commodity. Okay, how the general price level estimated? It is estimated by various price index numbers. Okay, such as wholesale price index and consumer price index. And the third one, business cycle. What is the business cycle? Business cycle, it refers to the cyclical movement of different economic situations such as boom, depression and recovery. You can see here, this is the business cycle. Okay, the stage one, this is the boom. In this stage, all the economic activities are in higher level. There will be more production, more saving, more aggregate demand, more investment. But what happened after this situation? There is economic downturn. Okay, stage 2, economic downturn. Okay, in this situation, the economic activities it started to decline. The production will decline, and the income, per capita income, it also started to decline. So it will reach the economic recession. Okay, third stage, economic recession. Okay, in economic recession, all the economic activities are very low. So it leads to economic depression. Okay, when the economy face the depression, the policy makers, especially the monetary authority and the government, they will formulate the better policies to bring up the economy. So it leads to recovery. Okay, after recovery, again it leads to boom. Then it leads to it comes to economic downturn, again economic recession and recovery. So it is a cyclical movement. This is called as business cycle. So the macroeconomics helps us to understand the cyclical fluctuation of the economy. And then economic growth. All the countries, they want to grow and develop. So macroeconomics helps us to analyze the factors essential for the growth of the nation. The growth and development of the country can be understand and determined by the macroeconomic study. And then economic policies. Macroeconomics is essential for formulating suitable economic policy. Macroeconomics concept helps the policy maker to formulate better policy to bring up the economy. And the last, poverty and unemployment. Poverty and unemployment, it is a twin problem for the developing countries. The volume or magnitude of poverty can be understood by the macroeconomic studies, and to facilitate and to allocation of the resources, macroeconomic studies helps the policy makers. Okay, let's see about the limitations of macroeconomics. Macroeconomics also suffer from the certain limitations. They are, the first, there is a danger of excessive generalization of the economy as a whole. There is possibility for excessive generalization, overestimation of the macro variables. And second, it assumes homogeneity among the individual units. Macroeconomics assumes all the individual units are same. It also a limitation of the macroeconomics. And third, there is a fallacy of composition. Okay, even in our 5 fingers are not same. In our hand, the 5 fingers are not same. So what is good for one individual is not good for another. What is good for one nation is not good for another nation. Okay, what is good for particular time, it is not good for another time. So there is a fallacy of composition. Okay, and the last one, many non-economic factors determine economic activities, but they do not find place in usual macroeconomics. In macroeconomics, it deals only about the economic indicators, and the non-economic factors which is determining the economic activities, it's neglected in macroeconomics. These are the limitations of the macroeconomics. Okay, dear students, in this video we learned the origin or evolution of macroeconomics and the meaning of macroeconomics and the scope of macroeconomics and the importance of macroeconomics, and then limitations of macroeconomics. Okay, so now I want to ask a few questions. Who introduced the terms micro and macro? Who coined the term micro and macro? Ragnar Frisch. Ragnar Frisch, a Norwegian economist, he introduced the terms micro and macro. Okay, micro means small and macro means large. Okay, then who is called as father of modern economics? Who is called as father of modern economics? Yes, it is John Maynard Keynes. J.M. Keynes is called as father of modern economics. Okay, then what is the other name for macroeconomics? What is the other name for macroeconomics? Macroeconomics is also known as income theory. Macroeconomics also known as income theory. Okay, I give you some assignment. Okay, I give some assignment. The following questions you have to learn. I will send you the notes through WhatsApp. Remember, learn these questions. First, from part B, define macroeconomics. Define macroeconomics. Then define the term inflation. In part C, answer the following question in about a paragraph. State the importance of macroeconomics. In part D, discuss the scope of macroeconomics. Okay, dear students, learn these questions, then prepare for the test. Okay, with this, I finish this class. Thank you.